Actually, you get on a silver platter over there. Like it's like you guys want to suffer. Like y'all want to just be.
Hi guys, I hope that you're doing alright. So Dr. Umar talked about how disappointed he is with Akon. He says that Akon has been making derogatory comments about African Americans. Now, I don't read minds, so I don't know 100% what comments Dr. Umar here is talking about or the video of Akon that he's making reference to, but I do have a video which is in line with what he's saying for context, and I'm gonna put it in there. Why he talks about being an African raised in America, and he talks about people moving to America because there's more opportunities right there. But Dr. Umar tells him to say you cannot deny about being an American too, because you have grown on this soil, and that's where R&B got originated from, and also you use the art form of Africa. He has also called him out on Akon City, which is a futuristic city that was said to be built in Senegal. Of course, I don't know how far he has gone with it, but among the investors is China. He's got Chinese investors. So he's saying, don't you realize that China wants a cut of Africa because they do have a lot of people there, and you have a lot of land that is unused in Africa. So at the end of the day, whoever pays for it is the one who holds the control. So wake up, Akon. So anyway, let me roll the clip so that you hear this argument going on here, and I'm also gonna insert that video by Akon so you hear him speak, and then I'm gonna be back.
Akon, how you feel about Akon? Because I know you feel a type of way about the comments he be making about African Americans, and he's also, building a city right now. What you think about that?
First of all, I love my brother Akon. The Locked Up song he did with Styles P, one of my favorite hip hop R&B songs. I'm disappointed in Akon's comments about American Africans. I thought Akon was a Pan-Africanist, and to constantly hear him occasionally make derogatory comments about American Africans when you have benefited from our art form. It's still African, but hip hop was birthed on American soil. For you to have benefited yourself from hip hop and American African R&B and to speak negatively about us at the same time, I think it's a shame. And at a time where African people around the world need to be coming together as one. Akon is my brother. Yes, he's Senegalese, but he's my brother. My ancestors might have came out of Gorée Island, Senegal. He's my brother. So for me, it's a disservice whenever I see Africans, American Africans, continental Africans, Caribbean Africans, Canadian Africans, Brazilian Africans, Africans in Europe speak negatively about other Africans. We are one people. United we stand, divided we fall. Now, Akon City. I believe Akon means well. I do. But if the reports are true that the Chinese are financing Akon City to a tune of 1 billion, then that's not Akon City. That's Senegalese Chinatown is what it is. That is Senegalese Chinatown, because the hand that pays is the hand that rules. The hand that pays is the hand that rules. So if the Chinese are financing Akon's city, then that is not Akon City. It is nothing more than a neo-colonialist front for the Chinese to make inroads into Western Africa and through Senegal in particular as a means of recolonizing the entire continent. If that is Chinese money, I cannot support the project. That's what I'm hoping it's not true. I'm hoping it's not true. But from what I'm hearing, the Chinese are fronting the $1 billion for Akon. The Chinese are the new colonialists on the block. They are engaged in a three-way tug of war, Chinese, Russians, and Americans, for who are going to dominate the soil of Africa. Remember, whoever controls Africa rules the world, because Africa has the largest deposits of non-renewable resources in the world. Gas, oil, gold, silver, manganese, coltan. Do you realize of the dozen or so minerals necessary to create an atomic bomb, half of them are in Africa? There is no nuclear age without Africa. There is no solar age without Africa. There is no technological age without Africa. China knows that. And see, the reason China wants to possess herself of Africa is number one, China is overpopulated. I've been there twice to speak to the Africans. China is overpopulated, bro. You think rush hour in New York is something? You think rush hour in DC? Go to China and sit in that rush hour. It's overpopulated. 2 billion people. They need somewhere to drop off the excess Chinese. Africa has undeveloped land all over the continent. It's the perfect place for China to send all of the people she needs to get rid of. Number two, China is the number one producer of cheap goods, cheap food, cheap clothes, cheap utensils, cheap devices, cheap soap, anything cheap, China makes it. They are the Walmart of the planet. China has a surplus of cheap goods. Where can I go and sell all these cheap goods that cost less than $1 so I can recoup all my money from the surplus I have? Africa. Most of the world lives off of less than $1 a day. The world. So America will never be able to sabotage China because America is king of capitalism, expensive goods. China is the king of communism, cheap goods. And so Africa is the perfect place for the Chinese to dump all their unsold cheap goods off. Also, where can you go to create a manufacturing sector where you can pay people pennies in order to work for you? Africa. Everything China needs, Africa has, and the last thing is the damn resources. China want that gold, China want them diamonds, China want that gas, China wants that oil. And I'm disappointed in our African leaders, not all of them, but some of them. And most recently, I spoke by the invitation of the Ethiopian government for African Liberation Day this past May. And my disappointment with some African leaders is we keep on playing pocket pool with these different neo-colonizers. Who's going to treat me the best? The Americans? Who's going to treat me the best? The Russians? Who's going to treat me the best? The Chinese? None of them are going to treat you well because they are all colonizers. Africa has no friends. The only thing Africa has is a lot of resources that other people don't want to pay for. And will kill to get. So right now we got a situation in the Sahel in Africa where you have Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea. These are all former French colonies, Francophone countries. They kicked the France out. There's been revolutions, and now we got what appears to be authentic Black leadership in Africa. I hope they are sincere. I hope they are not FBI agents. I hope these coups are not a CIA stunt because we really need these brothers to keep good on their promise to revolutionize the political reality in Africa because our people are tired of being at the bottom. The richest people in the world, the first people in the world, have no business being the poorest people in the world. And so I'm hoping these brothers are sincere because if they are, this is the much needed continental-wide revolution that Africa so desperately needs to have.
What do you consider yourself today? Are you American? Are you African? Are you African American? What are you?
I'm an African raised in America. You know, clearly.
So you're not American?
I wish I was, but my mind is not African. I mean, American. It's clearly African.
But you have the accent. You have,
I went to school in America. My whole earlier childhood, I was raised in Africa. Then I came to America. Every summer, we would go back to Africa for a vacation.
So anyway, I understand why he says he is an African raised in America because he had his childhood in Africa, then he moved to America. And according to Google, an African American is a person who has an ancestry or a descendant who moved from Africa as a slave, enslaved into America. Okay, Google, let's hold that thought. Anyway, he talks about coming on to America because, staying there after he finished school. He completed school because there are more opportunities there. But there are other videos where Akon is telling Black Americans to go back to Africa, to go back to the motherland because they will do better off there. There's everything. He talks about they won't be crying every other day about our criticism and all these mistreatments that African Americans have been encountering. So stop crying and stop being babies and go back to the motherland because you're going to do better off there. But didn't you just say there are better opportunities in the US? And are you in Africa yourself? I know about the city as you saw, you guys, but he is not here really. So that stand is quite questionable.
Something that was going to help boost Africa's economy is if African Americans actually
going
go
over.
back.
It's 100%. I think Africa will start to become to its fullest potential when y'all all go back home.
Right.
Like, and even y'all,
Right.
what's interesting is that everything that y'all fighting for over here,
Right.
you get on a silver platter over there. Like, it's like you guys want to suffer. Like, y'all want to just be.
That hurt. That hurt.
Because you don't have to be. It's like, believe me, they wouldn't want nothing better than to ship all y'all back to Africa. But they not even knowing this for y'all best interest. Y'all would actually be better off.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. No more crying, no more like marching, no more getting killed by cops, no more crying racism because y'all are the majority over there. You know?
Like, are you going to tell your friends to move there? And sounds like belittling whatever experiences that they have had because of the opportunity also that they have been seeking, which you also stayed for, right? Opportunity. And then you tell them, say, just go back there, you're going to be doing better off. We know that Africa is in raw materials coming in different forms, and we already know that. But I could say Africa is still making improvements in technology, in production, and all of that. So we're still on a very large scale importing things like finished products and etc. You heard Dr. Umar make reference to China shipping their things here because they're cheap and all. But I can tell you it's all strategy, and Akon must rethink this investment, Chinese investment in that Akon city that we talked about, because he won't even realize that he's falling into their conditions. That's what happens. Whoever pays owns. He's the one who's gonna have the control. So before we can have another Chinatown in Africa, he should really reconsider his stand with this investment. I would like to know what you guys think, so make sure you comment below in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one. Remember to subscribe.